late. I have a couple bastard swords.
Or you can try them if you want, but it's not important.
Oh, okay.
If you have something up to +5 and nothing else is, geez, I'm sure it's your most damaging weapon.
Yeah.
You know, oh yeah, here it is. No, I don't see your broadcast anymore. What the heck?
Oh, really?
You
1
have
second.
a heart of gold. Don't let them take it from you.
Okay, here I am.
Okay.
That was weird.
Yeah, because my halberd's up to
No, interesting. I can tell you a bit.
so,
I can forge weapons for you.
yeah, because mine's at +5 or +4 right now.
Oh yeah, +4. I see. Can you take it any further?
Yeah, I can take it to. Well, no, I mean, no, I can't right now, but because I'm missing 4 hardstone shards.
I see.
No, interesting. I can tell you a bit.
But it's weird because this used to do a lot more damage when I had my equipment on. I was able to one-shot these guys. That's cool. Let's see.
You can check the item descriptions. As far as I know, there's no such thing as damage-based set bonuses in this game.
Because before they were yeah, see, that's 347.
But that was a repose.
Okay, so I'll
Standard attack.
okay, so I'll show you a normal standard attack. It's kind of hard to see their life because there's so many.
No, I see. You do 54 damage with one two-handed R1. And then you 4. What is your one-handed R1? It's like 36 damage?
Yeah.
Yeah, 30-something. It's the same as it was before.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. You are doing much better damage two-handing your weapon. That's how it always goes. Yeah, just like yeah.
Huh.
There are no set bonuses that increase damage. You are wearing the whatever the template starts with
The blue eye knight's caress and the
I see you got a combination of things. Part of the blue eye knight set on your chest piece. Yeah, it's just armor.
Oh, okay.
There are a few unique pieces that have special effects. Helmets. Helmets with special effects are... Actually, it's the Munset collar. Silver Coronet has one.
I have other pieces like the official's clothing.
The monk's head collar, the big funny yellow hat, increases your magic power, increases your magic defense, so that's very popular.
Oh.
Coronet increases your MP. Either that,
Oh.
that was a cool backstab animation.
Oh yeah. Oh shit.
Use your counter to thrust.
Oh, actually, I don't know. That's a good
I
question.
think you can.
Let me see. Oops. No.
Just, hold guard with L1 and then tap R1 like hold guard. Oh, I guess it doesn't work then.
That'd be cool though.
You can do it with your spear. Or,
Oh really? Okay.
if you want to see it, with your spear.
Yeah, I have a spear. It's back home though. Let's see.
Oh yeah, you don't need to worry about carry everything. I literally never ever used storage in a Soulsborne game, except for Bloodborne, where you get like extra stuff that automatically runs off into storage.
Hello again.
Yeah, I guess I thought it contributed to weight or something. So now that I know that, I can just carry everything, I guess.
Yeah, I never knew when I was going to want to change up my fashion on the fly in the name of being stylish. So I had to carry it with me all the time.
Oh, I can't take any more things. Oh, there is an item burden. Yeah, there's totally an item burden here.
I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. There's totally an item burden here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you can see out of 100, I'm at 76. Upper right-hand corner.
Oh, that's exclusive to this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It doesn't exist in any other Soulsborne game.
So if I get rid of stones... Oh yeah, even the stones are pretty heavy.
Oh, wow. That's surprising. Yeah, I really had no idea. I heard there was something like item burden, but I thought it referred to the consumables that you could equip. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a shocker. Yeah, it has no effect on equip burden. That's still the same.
Right.
But wow, yeah. What a pain. I guess that means you just have to move things to and from storage more frequently.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I just dropped a punt, about 40 pounds worth of stuff. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, that's just arbitrary stuff. I don't think it changes gameplay at all. I've never heard anyone talk about it. Should have no effect on your stamina regeneration or your roll.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's some BS right there.
Huh.
Once again, I guess I assumed that a mechanic that's in every other Souls game existed in this one, or rather, in this case, wasn't in this one. But no, you really got to use your storage box, I guess. That's too bad.
I had a spear. Oh, here it is.
You have a heart of gold. Don't let them take it from you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
This was really very good in the first Dark Souls, and then it got nerfed all to hell to the point where it really wasn't an advantage of the weapon class and wasn't worth doing by the time you got to Dark Souls 2 and 3.
I wonder if the spear is a good weapon. Let's see here.
I think it probably is,
It's simply trade.
but this doesn't seem to have any comically long spears like Dark Souls does.
Should I?
In fact, the winged spear might be the best one.
Oh,
But
right.
I think that probably scales based on dexterity.
Oh, okay.
You'll have to check it.
Let's see. It's hard to find the information.
I can tell you, I'll get the last one here.
Yeah, I thought some of this would be easier, but it's like you said earlier, it must be in many ways just a one-to-one port of the original,
Yeah.
and the UI is improved with other releases.
Let me try here. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about the spear. Let's see
There
that.
has to be some screen that allows you to see that information. The information players are getting on the wiki is taken from somewhere.
Yeah. It's the people I have available to me. I mean, she doesn't give me information, does she? No. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't see it change slot.
See, this says, from the equipment screen, press X and then square on a piece of gear, and you'll come to a lengthy stat page with a ton of numbers that all represent something.
Oh.
Okay, so you were just scrolling through your character stats and wouldn't actually click on a weapon with X, according to this, and that's what you need to do. there should be descriptions that you can access of every item. That's how you get a lot of the lore in these games.
Oh, okay. Okay, it showed up right here. So excellent.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah, see, scaling will increase once it's upgraded like it does in Bloodborne. But even from that E and that D, my guess is that the D increases and Dex scaling actually is what the weapon is about unless you modify it.
I see. Okay. So what does E stand for?
It's just shittier than D, like if you get a grade of E in a class.
Oh, okay.
Which, well, we didn't have that at Loma Linda, but at the U of A, we don't give Fs, we give Es.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Our grading system is A, B, C, D, E, where E is failure.
So how do you know if if the weapon scales with your whatever attribute?
Probably the one that it starts with higher scaling in, it keeps higher scaling in by default. But instead of me making more assumptions, since I've already been wrong twice tonight, I'm going to look this up for you right now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, sorry about this, Andrew. I didn't.
I'll never forgive you.
I didn't mean you.
Ever.
I didn't mean you to be to make you my
Ever.
Jarvis tonight. You know what I mean? So.
All right, let's see. So regular winged spear plus 10 gets D scaling in strength and C scaling in dex or skill or whatever the hell it's called in this game. Now you can modify it. If you modify it to be a quality weapon, you will get C scaling in both stats. And it looks like there's nothing you can do to have superior strength scaling on this weapon.
Ah, okay. So maybe I could,
you could get a fatal winged spear. You could modify it so that it has an A scaling in dex and a higher critical bonus. Or you could get a sharp winged spear so it has an S scaling in dex but no higher critical bonus. But you can't get S in strength and E in dex.
Okay. Maybe I should.
And it should be the opposite with your halberd.
Okay.
Let's see. I will check that too. Do.
Maybe I should go with this instead then.
Well, being able to poke from behind your shield isn't that important. The most dangerous game is always other players, and in the current PvP meta, blocking isn't really that important. People usually have their shields on their backs and run around trying to backstab each other.
Yeah.
Of course, you can be a real shitter, and you can just, have a great shield and constantly back up while poking behind your great shield, but I think that can be kind of unfun to play and unfun to play against.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons I've criticized great shields in Bloodborne. Okay, so let's, in Soulsborne. So with the regular halberd, yes, you can get a crushing halberd, which would have an S scaling in strength and no scaling in anything else.
Oh.
So if your plan is to invest in strength, then you can capitalize on that with a halberd upgrade path, but not a spear upgrade path.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you hardly want to use any magic or faith-based miracles or whatever at all, then, hell, level your strength and skill both up to 50 and have a quality build. You can do that with any weapon.
And they upgrade to level 10?
Uh, Looking at this, it looks like maybe quality upgrades to 5, and it would use different kinds of chunks and stuff.
Okay, so I can take my original halberd, and once I upgrade it to level 5, then it would change into a quality halberd?
No, that's not how it works.
Oh.
I can tell you what the items are, but I have to look it up because, again, it's different from Dark Souls. Let's see.
So you can't take a regular shitty weapon and make it a good weapon?
Oh, yes, you can. But it's not just a matter of upgrading it. Let's see. For quality upgrades, you need something called Clear Stone, which comes in shards, chunks, and pure form.
Okay.
If you want a dedicated strength scaling weapon, you need...
I'm keeping
Haha, it's called Greystone. That's funny.
I think I have Greystone.
Well, I guess it's not that funny, but it makes me think of Castle Grayskull. Yeah, let's see. What are all the materials in this game? Hard stone, sharp stone, clear stone, gray stone, blade stone, dragon stone, sucker stone, mercury stone, marrow stone, moonlight stone, dark moon stone, fate stone, spider stone, cloud stone, melt stone, and colorless demon soul.
I have most of those except for that last one, colorless demon soul.
You will need them in different amounts.
Oh, okay.
And wow, the comments on the wiki are making fun of how many different kinds of stones there are.
Yeah. I mean, are you looking at what I'm looking at? It's like...
I'm still scrolling through the wiki.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm looking now. Yeah, you need a bunch of these in various amounts and sizes. Pure is great. That means that you can get the last thing on an upgrade path with that stone.
Hmm.
That stuff is hard to get, just like how bloodstone slabs, or whatever they're called, are hard to get in Bloodborne.
I see.
The shards are the ones that give you the earlier upgrades, like +1 to +3.
Oh, okay. And these drop by enemies and stuff, so they're pretty easy to come by.
Yeah. Most of the time. The rarer ones might take a little bit of grinding. It depends.
You have a heart of gold.
Though some should also be laying around in the environment.
I see. So they're like limited amounts then. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Oh, I learned a lot today about this
So
game.
did I. I didn't know some of that stuff. It makes me more grateful for the changes that Dark Souls made, actually. I'd have to screw around with storage all the time if I had an item limit in that game.
Yeah, like, and I'm already at, I don't have that much in storage, and I'm already at like 60 or something.
And
Oh,
I think
70.
you can kill Stockpile Thomas. So, what happens when he's dead? Can you still organize your storage over by his body? I sure hope so.
You have to drop it, I guess. I don't know.
It won't stay on the ground forever if you just drop it, as I understand.
Can you sell like duplicates? Do you know if you can do that?
Oh yeah, probably. I think, and you can souls. There was even this stupid souls for fewer souls than you would actually get in the event. soul for 50 regular soul instead of using it for 30,000.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Yeah, because I already have all these, like, a hoplite shield.
Yeah, try to take the extras out and just sell them to somebody.
Is there any...
Sometimes it's nice to have extras. For example, you could have, in Dark Souls, different upgrade paths that you could subject shields to, and it would change the damage resistances that they gave you. So you could have one shield that kind of sort of did one thing, and one shield that kind of sort of did another thing. It wasn't that important, though. But you could have, you know, the upgrade paths were a little different, so you could have like a lightning spear and a fire spear and a divine spear all in your inventory and make use of your extras that way.
Also with durability, Andrew, with durability, like, what happens when you reach 0 durability? Does your weapon break?
I'm not sure exactly how it works. I just read that once something gets under 30% durability, it gets significantly worse. So there may actually be stages of breakage.
Ah. Interesting.
And I am really not sure what happens when it reaches 0 in this game. It would be so cruel if the weapon just disappeared. But I think that it does just break and then has to be repaired at a significant cost.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I noticed after a while, if I don't, you know, repair my weapon, it's like around 2,000 souls or something.
Yeah.
So.
In Dark Souls 2, due to a particular glitch that had to do with the PC game running at 60 frames per second, I had my weapons break all the time. Yeah. All the time. Especially because I was very fond of a couple really fragile ghetto ones.
Ones that were made out of glass.
Kill a couple enemies and I'd be like, whoops! And I just pay to repair them. And it's probably the same way in this game.
I see. Yeah.
You have a heart of gold. Don't let them take it from you.
Yeah, I don't know what to do, because, I mean, I upgraded my halberd to level 4.
I didn't think you were going to go for a strength build at all. I thought you were going to try to get the Blue Blood sword.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in the early stages that I could still do the Blue Blood sword. But I don't know. My strength is not that much. It's at 21.
Well, you know, if you go with the strength build, you actually have more options.
Yeah.
If you want the Blue Blood sword, that's a different play style. It's just a long sword, and it's a long sword that you just have to keep using as this character because it would be the only thing that would scale with your luck stat.
Oh, okay. So it's like tapping out luck.
Yeah, like 18 in most things, and then luck higher. And, you know, you can switch between a halberd and a bastard sword and other things if you're a strength build. I think it might actually be a little more fun. There seems like there's a good list of builds on the old Demon Souls wiki.wiki. Maybe you'd want to look at that.
Yeah, that's
I am definitely not telling you to give up on the halberd. I was just saying, you know, if you have something lighter that you like using, maybe you'd want to do that so you can still wear heavy armor.
It's true, because, I mean, the halberd is pretty heavy.
Yeah, and once you invest more in your stamina, then it just won't be an issue. You'll keep upgrading. You'll probably even eventually upgrade from your regular halberd let's see, how many different halberds are there? So there's the regular one. There's the Murden hammer.
The hammer would be kind of cool to use too. I've never used
what?
that. I said the hammer would be kind of cool to use. I've never seen the hammer yet.
There's a phosphorescent pole.
Ooh.
There's a war scythe. Oh, that scales with dex. Reaper scythe. Oh, that doesn't even have any stats on it on this wiki. What about boss weapons? Yeah, you have an axe. Let's see. I don't know. There's a lot of neat stuff.
Yeah, I guess I just have to mess around with it then, huh?
Yeah, and some things you can experiment with two-handed before you experiment one-handed. If you two-hand something, then it's like your strength gets magnified. It's like you add 50% of it to your stats again. So, 12 strength becomes 18 strength or whatever it is.
Right, I didn't know actually doing it two-handed gave you more hit power, but that makes sense.
Yeah, that's one reason why you do more damage with your weapon two-handed. It also means that if you only had, half the requirement to use a supermassive weapon, you could use it with two hands.
Yeah, that's it. Seems good. Huh. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to call it a night. I've been playing this game for a little too long.
Well, if you say so. I mean, you haven't really been playing the game at all. You've been going through the wiki with me. But if you're done, you're done.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe I could give this area a shot. I'm not sure. Huh.
And when you see Chris later, you should make sure he also knows how to inspect weapons and look at the scaling and stuff. I'm not sure he does.
No, I don't think he does either. I'll tell him about it to press X and then square on the weapon. Because that really does help a lot, actually. So. Oh, that's a lot more in depth than I realized.
Oh, yeah. I used to play around trying to make Dark Souls builds using the Builder Online before I ever even played the game. I was so excited about it. And there's a lot to consider when trying to plan a character, because you had to balance equip burden and so on with the weapon you wanted to use, the shield you wanted to use, whether or not you want full damage out of possible weapon, with all stats at the soft cap, or whether you want to take a few points away so that you can enchant your thing with magic or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the enchanting weapon seems pretty cool too.
I hear it makes your weapon very pretty, but I haven't seen it yet.
I bet it does. I mean, this whole game is like gorgeous. Jesus. It's very cool. Oh yeah, let me show you the knight that I've been rescuing. There he is.
Here in Boletaria, we speak of the legend of the two swords and the solitary hero. The two swords are Demon Brand and Soul Salt. One sword banishes that which befouls man, and the other banishes man himself. The solitary hero is old King Doran. King Doran is the Everlasting One, founder of Boletaria and protector of the two swords. Of course, only according to legend. But in the dark state of our land, sometimes legends are all we have.
He seems like a pretty cool guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not gonna kill everybody in the Nexus.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, he's your bro, and he's there to give you exposition and so on.
Oh, okay.
And eventually you'll be able to get that sweet-ass fluted armor.
That'd be awesome.
For many players, that's their favorite set in this game.
Does it come with any types of buffs or anything, or?
It's just a nice plate armor set. I can't remember if it has any important resistances on it. I think Yurt's has good paralysis and poison resist on it. Not paralysis. What is it called? Curse? Plague? I forget what the status ailments are in this game.
Do all these children come alive again, or are they just fucking dead?
I can't see what you mean. I just see you, oh, there. Oh. I see. Monumentals. I don't think they come back.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's some kind of cycle involved in this story that you can perpetuate or not, but I don't remember the details.
It's a lot of dead kids.
Well, they're not really kids. They're like a gazillion years old.
Oh, okay. It's a lot of old men that look like kids.
Yeah. Just like in Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
And if you return time to him, he'll be like, oh! I finally feel all the years. Do you understand? Do you? And then Spike has to say, yeah, sure, I understand. As if. And throw your harmonica up in the air and go, bang. I love it. You are beautiful. I had no idea you could leave such a message in Demon's Souls. I would just tell people that they were beautiful all the time. That's so inspiring.
It is.
I would probably leave a message like that at the beginning of the game so that after you make your character, whoever you are, you see a message telling you that you're beautiful. Words can't bring you down, and so on.
Words can't bring you down. Look at this guy. This guy's crazy. He's an assassin.
That's a pretty cool looking outfit.
Poison resistance. This guy definitely knows what he's doing, I guess.
I don't know. He's only played for 9 hours.
He's level
Saved 14 phantoms. Vanquished 12 demons. I don't know how much of the game that is.
He's level 52. That's pretty good.
Much like in Dark Souls, the community PvP cap is around 120, 125. Many people stop around there.
Is this guy wearing chick armor or something, or what? Or just has a breastplate, but just because. Oh, cool, look at that shield. That's fun.
Armor does have boobs on it, doesn't it?
It does.
Not when he's wearing it, but in the icon.
Yeah, definitely.
What's it called?
Black leather garb.
Oh.
He has the regular. So he's a temple.
Huh.
Yeah.
Looks nothing like the black leather garb in Dark Souls. It's interesting. It doesn't
Dragon.
even look like black leather. Looks kind of brown to me.
Yeah, it totally is
He
brown.
got cheated by whoever sold it to him.
Totally.
Yeah.
One second, Chris just texted me. Oh, Chris says he's gonna hop on in about 5 minutes.
I think that's enough watching for me now, though.
Yeah, that's enough for me too. I think I need to go drink some water. I'm pretty thirsty. It's kind of cool that you can be in other people's games and stuff. Oh, what's this?
Yeah, being able to inspect other players even is cool.
Oh, this guy looks awesome. I like that armor a lot. Jeez, that's really Eastern.
I don't know, it looks like some kinky sex armor to me.
It's probably why I like it. And then look at all these grasses. These are stupid. These are different grasses. New moon grass, dark moon grass. Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, I don't like that actually.
It's terrible.
Maybe the words are easier to distinguish visually at a glance in Japanese.
Yeah, I have to be like, okay, full moon gives you a full life. Late moon gives you like 2/3. Half gives you half. That's weird.
Yeah, I don't like these items. I think the profiles look similar. Some might be difficult to distinguish from each other for like a colorblind person, maybe.
Well, they have a
They all
color.
have these really similar names.
Well, they have a colorblind option and stuff, but when you're in the heat of battle and stuff, it's really hard to it's really hard to be like, oh yeah, I want this one instead. So you kind of have to stop and look. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah, having to scroll through 5 different grasses in your inventory in battle, that seems like a lot to me.
It's too much. But then all the items you pick up, like, I wanted some of my items to be empty, right? But every single time I would pick up an item, it would just go into one of my 5 slots. Like, no, I only want 2 in this.
Yeah.
So, there's no
You
way
might be able to turn that off.
I tried looking for it, but I couldn't find any solution for that. So I was like, because I did that with Sekiro. I just made sure that my quick thing was only a couple items that I could access quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
I
guess
guess
that's another quality of life issue that gets resolved in later Soulsborne games.
yeah. Like, I guess this is supposed to be for, a quick switch thing, but again, it's a little awkward.
Yeah. Inventory management was always sort of one of the weak points of the entire series.
Mm.
Even Dragon's Dragon, the Dragoning of Dragons, did better. They actually patched the game in order to do better.
Oh, wow.
Their inventory management used to be clunky, kind of like this, where you could only scroll through a long list of items in a couple of different directions. But then, in a patch, they overhauled the entire UI and changed it so that it was a radial system, where you could hold down a button to change each one of your face buttons into a different item shortcut. And
oh wow,
it
good on them then.
really improved the game drastically. I wish the Soulsborne games had something like that.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than like an awkward inventory system, especially when your game kind of revolves around what kind of equipment you have, like what kind of builds you're having, you know?
Right.
How,
Although I eventually got pretty good at quickly scrolling through the stuff that I wanted. You know, tap up 3 times to get to a particular buff, and then tap it once to reset to get to the the spell that I want to shoot most of the time. And I just do it automatically without thinking about it.
mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, people are able to
Took
learn.
more button presses than a radio menu would.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Like, people can learn anything, regardless of how ridiculous it is. It's just, I don't know. It's just for those developers that really think it through. It's appreciated, you know. So. It's cool though. It's a really gorgeous game. Yeah, Andrew.
For all of the story, you'll have to just keep talking to NPCs as they appear and looking at item descriptions and so on. It's all really esoteric.
Yeah, that's where not Bloodborne. That's where Dark Souls kind of. That's where you get the main lore of Dark Souls, right? The first one.
Right.
So.
Yeah, Bloodborne is like that too.
Yeah, Bloodborne as well. Which is cool. But if you don't find the text, then, you know, kind of miss out a little bit. But, this game's awesome. I'm super excited about if they make a Bloodborne 2. What the way that PS5 can go with the graphics and everything. So.
You still have the Dark Souls remaster to play too, right?
Yeah, I saw that as well. Mm-hmm. So, yep. Which is good. So, Too bad Chris is going to be logged on and I'm like, Chris, I've already been playing hours of it, I'm sorry.
What's a few more hours?
Well, it's just, yeah. I just have my brains overloaded with knowledge of Demon Souls.
Oh yeah, you don't want the Demon Souls to explode your brain.
Yeah, I know, man. That's what I'm saying. So.
Well, I'm just gonna get going, I think. My arm is hurting from holding up this phone.
Oh, okay. Sorry, man. Yeah.
Well, I guess I could have put it down and put you on speaker, but, you know, it always takes me a few hours to remember that I have that ability.
You gotta get that, you know. Weightlifting, Andrew. Weightlifting, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to give myself tennis elbow holding these phones. I don't know.
Tomorrow I'm actually going to go with Jeremy to pick up Super Mario Brothers. He bought a cabinet for his arcade. It's
wow.
Yeah. It was a lot more expensive than I realized. It's cool that he has it, though. It's $1,000, though. It's like, whew.
Oh, man. Well, if it's worth it to him.
I think it's pretty cool, and he's excited about it, but, like tonight, I was asking Melissa if she wanted to go out for, hot chocolate, and, you know, she's been a little bit down lately, and that accidentally slipped out, and she's like, wait, what? Jeremy's picking up what? I was like, oh, shit. I was like, I wasn't supposed to tell you, I don't think, Melissa. I was like, keep it on a down low. And she's like, my mom is super pissed off. She's like, she talked to Jeremy earlier, because she's having a hard time accessing the garage and stuff. And
Oh, does she need access to the garage or need it for storage?
She evidently she has like she has a fridge in there, and it seems like it's accessible. Um, but you know, moms like sometimes like you know I think Sherry's a lot like my mom. She's like no clutter, right?
And that she what? Sorry, I didn't
Oh,
hear.
Sherry's mom is like she doesn't like clutter, right? And so
Oh, yeah.
like when she sees the arcade, right? She's just like, why? Like why buy all this, you know?
Yeah, he is, he's taken over the house.
He really
He's already
has.
filled his own room wall to wall with all kinds of memorabilia, some of which I don't think he really engages with at length.
Yeah, it's like collecting, it's like
Well, it is. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, he was happy to collect the Neo Geo, but how often does he visit with his Neo Geo or try to master games like Samurai Showdown? He just keeps getting more things.
yeah. I think that also comes from the parents. Like Bob is much somewhat of a hoarder as well. And I think if Sherry was honest with me about it, she'd be like, you know what? It's not that the things that Jeremy has. It's the idea that he's slowly spreading to the rest of the house and taking it over, like you just said. That scares her. I don't know though. I mean, I can understand, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. But I also don't live with somebody that cares about what I buy and stuff, you know? I don't know. But in the
Well, I'd freak out if I had a kid who was, dropping $1,000 multiple times a year on arcade cabinets.
Yeah, well, and the fact that, like, like using grant money to do so, too, is alarming a little bit.
Yeah, my grandpa would be turning over in his grave yelling and screaming about how he needs to learn the value of $1, how you've got to save some of that stuff.
Well, like when I received grant money and stuff, that always went to my education. So because my parents paid for my education, and I signed up for as many grants as I could. And they said, well, they thanked me for it, right? Because they said you can do whatever you want with the grant money, but I was obviously going to use it for college because it's less that they have to pay. You know what I mean? And they're giving me the opportunity to have a free education. So I don't know, but Jeremy is under the impression that he's going to be making a bunch of money when he gets out, and that he can pay it back within a year or two. He'll start to realize that it's more than that. It's just naive. He's just naive about the whole situation, about what it actually means to make $1 and stuff. Which really hits people when they start living by themselves and they start picking up expenses. So, it's I don't know. Don't know, but
You know, and you said it. I don't know what else to add. I even kind of worry a little when I hear about what he does with his aid money.
Well, I would just never
already got
do
so
it.
many arcade machines.
Yeah.
I mean, how often is he going to play all these games?
Well, I mean, to his defense, though, he does seem to make the rounds with all of them.
That's good.
On a pretty frequent basis. He's just gotten to the point that he can't play all of them within a day now, you know what I mean? Because he has so many games. Because that would be like 5-6 hours a game type situation. But yeah, I think it's just like I think it changed because I had this conversation with Melissa. I think it changed for Jeremy when Jeremy got cancer, and he started realizing he is mortal, and he started reverting back to like a simpler time because things were getting kind of out of hand for him. As like you can't really explain cancer and why it happens to you if you're in relatively good health and stuff because cancer doesn't care if you're in good health or if you're in bad health. It doesn't. I mean, of course, there's like more preventive measures, but it doesn't mean that cancer can't take over a healthy person, obviously. And I think this is what really reverted Jeremy back to this whole hoarding aspect and kind of making a world that he can control and understand. And I think it just kind of got too out of hand for him, maybe. So, I don't know. That's my 2 cents on it without really talking to him, just observing.
Mm-hmm. And he's always enjoyed collecting, too.
Yes. It's
just that aspect of him being, still provided for by his folks, spoiled like I am.
Yeah, but I think it's the idea of but I think there's a difference between you guys because like whereas you recognize it and Jeremy does recognize it too. Jeremy's not afraid to go into other people's spaces, and it can really turn off a person when you start invading their space. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Like when he built a bridge directly over my front lawn in Minecraft that one time.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah, he has different ideas about living space than some other people. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm more like Braveheart. It's like my island, Like if you want your own, like go search for your own. But this shit's mine, dude.
Right.
Like we can be neighbors, but like at least build like 10 miles away from me, please. I don't know. And I told him earlier on when he got a bunch of cabinets, I was like, wow, you're like hiding this from your mom. That must be like, that must be nerve-wracking and stuff, because if you have to hide something from your parents, it's not necessarily a good thing,
And how can you even hide that? Man, I wouldn't be able to make such a purchase and conceal it from my family.
Well, I remember when he got it was really cool, he got a lot of 7 arcade cabinets at a time. And he was like, we have to go because my parents get home at like 3 o'clock and stuff. And I just, I don't want my mom to freak out. I was like, oh man. I was like, Jesus, man, like you're a grown ass person and you're hiding shit from your mom. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to me, but I guess he has a reason to because his mom would freak out. But, his mom's not stupid. She knows this stuff is going on. I don't know. It's going to be a pain when he starts to move, actually, though, because he has to move all those cabinets. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how's he going to, with his own money that he earns, afford an apartment large enough to hold all these electronics and so on?
Well, Jeremy's under the impression that he's going to buy a house right away from his parents' house.
Well, maybe he will.
Yeah. I told him that it actually takes more than that. Like, your parents are probably going to have to co-sign for you. And he's like, why? I was like, because you have no money, dude. And he's like, well, I have money. I was like, let's say you're even making $300,000 a year. They don't care the bank doesn't care if you're making $300,000 a year, because you have no credit in your name. And so you have to get a co-signer under that actually has lots of credit and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I know how it works. I was like, yeah, but did you know that it was hard for my dad, who's been an established person for, close to, 30 years, beyond 30 years, actually. And, they were saying, oh, well, Dr. Suprano, we We don't know. We don't know if we wanna sell you this house in New York and stuff. It's like, so, there you go. And and he has credit for like many houses. So I was like, you need to keep that in mind, Jeremy. That even though you're making the money, it depends on who co-signs for you and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? And how much you make a year. And so I don't know, but he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. So, because he was telling me, he's like, well, you plan on moving away from California, don't you? I was like, yeah, but I have my parents to co-sign for me, which is different. You know, so I was like, I don't know if your parents will do that for you and that stuff, because well, I didn't want to tell them this, but I was thinking to myself, because they struggle financially, so for them to take on a house payment, there's a lot of responsibility, to say the least. I mean, this shit doesn't come easy. This is why a lot of people rent instead. So, I don't know. Again, it's just him being naive about the situation. So, hey, we'll see. We'll see.
Right.
But I don't know. I hope the best for Jeremy. I hope the best for his family. It seems like he's stressed out his family a little bit with the way he's doing things, but it's not my space, and Jeremy's going to do what he does. So
Yeah. Well, I kind of do worry, especially about their mom, who seems to get a lot of grief from John and from Jeremy. I hope they're all doing okay.
I think it's just. I think they think it at a very selfish perspective, because they kind of just expect these things. You know what I mean? And it's. I think they have a hard time putting themselves in other people's shoes. For instance, I was talking to Jeremy about a story about a billionaire. His name is Charlie. I forgot his last name. But
Brown.
Charlie Brown, yeah. And
Yeah,
Charlie Brown, what he did was he was a billionaire. He was nicknamed the 007 entrepreneur of the billionaire world. And Forbes got a hold of him and interviewed him on his billions, because he was no longer a billionaire, and they titled this thing, "The Billionaire You Will Never Hear Of." And I read his story, and it's very interesting. He donated most of his money to education, because he wanted to die broke, because he didn't really have anybody to pass it on to, besides his wife, who was his age too. And I was like saying, that like for me, that's like goals, to pass the wealth, and because if you die and you don't have anybody to give it to, guess what? It just goes to the government. But to make such
I think I saw a clickbait article or Reddit post somewhere about this guy. He decided he wanted a net worth of 0 or something by the time he died.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was telling him how like inspiring that is, and how if I came into a lot of money, I would want to do the same thing. And Jamie's like, I don't understand it. You don't know if he's actually doing it, and he's like, I think it's just a waste of money. I was like, thinking to myself, how can it be a waste of money to do something so good? But I wasn't thinking from a selfish aspect of it, you know what I mean? But I was like, I was like, that's interesting, like, how my friends can have a different chain of thought. Like, I can read the same story as they do, but they have some way out there outlook on it, you know what I mean? I don't know, I think... And I was I was talking to Taryn about this, and she kind of had the same response I did. And I was like, I think this is the reason why I don't date Melissa, because she kind of has the same outlook. Because I remember,
didn't realize maybe it's just me projecting onto Melissa, or the fact that I don't really talk to her as much as I do John or Jeremy.
yeah, I mean, that could be. But I was talking to Melissa and stuff, and she was just saying how she's getting older, how she wants to, she's not gonna lie, she just wants to marry a rich doctor. And I said, wow. I was like, really? And she's like, no, seriously, I do. Like, I was like, huh. And she's like, why do you just say that, Dave? And I was like, that's interesting, because what happens when like a new Molo comes around, and you know, you marry them for their money, and they just like they move on. Like, what do you have to say for that?
Well,
And
you can want to be in love with somebody who also happens to be rich.
well,
That's a pretty nice bonus.
well, that's what I told her. I said, I want to marry for love, and like I want my wife to be there if by chance I lose my money, right? I don't want them to say, "Hey, Dave, see you later." You know what I mean? I want them to actually like me for me. I mean, God forbid, right?
Grandma Megan used to joke around about this all the time. She'd say, it's just as easy to love a rich man as it is to love a poor man. So, marry a rich man. And the idea isn't that love shouldn't be involved.
Right,
It's just that,
right.
Jesus, don't you want some security for your family? Or a spouse who can contribute to the upkeep of the household?
Right. That's the whole thing. Like, if I was a sugar baby and stuff, I would feel terrible because the whole thing is like, you don't provide anything but somebody to look at to have sex with type situation. I don't know. It just came off as very shallow. And I remember telling Taryn this, and she's like, "Oh, I see." I was like, "Yeah, like even though Melissa thinks she was joking and stuff, she was like, I looked at her, and there was like seriousness in her eyes. You know what I mean? Because she was looking at guys that were like 45, 50. Like, Melissa's not that old.
Right.
It's like, I don't know, man.
Women do look for different things, and fortunately for us dudes, have a higher tolerance for old age. But I don't know. There's something odd about that too. Certainly no less odd than one of us being obsessed with banging 18-year-olds or whatever.
Well, I mean, I don't think any of us are obsessed with that, right?
Yeah,
And
I'm not trying to call out anybody in particular. I'm just saying that, for women, being maybe a little unhealthily obsessed with wealth might be more common than being a little unhealthily obsessed with looks.
good point.
Those are both common issues that I see pop up. I mean, that's how I meant with that. It wasn't like a criticism of anybody in particular.
No, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. I mean, guys are attracted to, younger women. I would say on average. But with that being said, it's not like, we can't find a good, 35-year-old girl. It's just that we don't usually want a 35-year-old girl with like 4 kids type situation.
Right.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Even wanting to be with a 35-year-old who is, say, roughly where we are at in terms of their career development.
Oh, yeah.
Whether or not they have kids or whatever. That's also very different from wanting to marry somebody who is significantly older, who isn't going to have that in common with you, who is instead just going to give you security while you maybe work on whatever career you're interested in.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. Because I mean, even though I've been on like Hinge and stuff, um, a lot of these girls are saying like, if you're looking for kids, I can't, can't really give you kids unless we get together within like the next year type situation. And
Oh, good grief. Do they really even know that with such certainty? It sounds like maybe they're panicking a little.
well, it's just
trying to pressure in a way that doesn't really work.
well, it's just like the youngest people that hit me up, because I think what Hinge does is it says, okay, you're this age, so we'll only give you these ranges, and so most of the people that come my way is around anywhere from 32 to 41, but the average seems to be around 35, and medically they say 35 is kind of you do it or you don't type situation, because lots of risks are involved in the incoming years after that type situation.
Right.
And that's just if you want kids.
Yeah, and some people do it, and the ticking clock is their concern. If you are a well-established 30-something guy, you will be able to date 20-something women.
Yeah.
They're not doing themselves any favors by posting something like, "Oh God, come on, guys, somebody marry me. I have to have a kid in the next year."
Well, I mean, they're not actually posting it on their profile. They're just telling me through messages and stuff. Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, which is fine. I mean, that's the funny thing. Like, some of these girls, like, I've told them I've had CP and stuff, and they tell me about the not being able to have kids, and they hold my disability against me, but like and that's fine. They have the right to do that and everything, but like I have no control over that. But for me to expect, me get them pregnant in a year, it's not apples to apples in that situation. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's a choice that in a way, it's kind of a choice that they made. You know what I mean? Especially coming from the girls' aspect of girls have an easier time in dating, I think, than males do, and
there are definitely ways in which that's true, but these girls are doing something that I always try very carefully not to do.
Which is what?
Their horrible desperation is really on their sleeves there.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's a private conversation and not on their profile, to tell somebody after a few online conversations, oh, I really gotta, I want to have a serious relationship and have a kid within the year. That is so much pressure on a near total stranger.
Yeah.
When you are that old, and if you have standards, that are more important to you than having a kid. If you want to be sure you have a really happy relationship, you need to have the attitude that it can take some time to develop.
Right.
You can't just brush off everybody who is unwilling to produce a kid for you in a year unless your goal is just to have a damn kid. And if that's it, I mean, I just can't imagine what your values are, how screwed up you have to be. Well, that kid isn't a promise of anything. It's certainly not a promise of your personal happiness.
Right, exactly.
And you certainly wouldn't be able to promise the child even a happy home if you're desperate to get married and pop out a kid within a 12-month period.
Well, yeah, I mean,
ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're not looking at the situation. You're thinking about just yourself, and you're not thinking about it financially. How financial a burden it's going to be to have a kid, and not only that, but how much energy it's going to take.
Yeah.
These are things that people should really consider. Um, if they're, you know, at the very least responsible. So, uh,
Oh, Tuffy says hello.
oh, tell them
Jumped
hello.
on my laptop here to check out things.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so I don't know. So I kind of went off on a tangent. Um,
That is okay. So I probably should go and have a snack and, I don't know, do something.
yeah, man. All right. Well, thanks for being my Jarvis tonight, Andrew. I appreciate it. And
You're Jarvis.
yeah,
What, like an Iron Man?
yeah.
Is this really what Jarvis does in Iron Man?
Well, he's Jarvis is is the helper of Tony Stark, right?
Yeah, and well, if you go by the movies, he's not even a real butler. He's, an AI wired in the house, so he does always have to listen, I guess. But,
Well, I mean, you are coming from my phone. You aren't here in person.
yeah, I'm not helping you build a miniaturized arc reactor. I'm just talking to you about Hinge. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we have to come across that conversation first. I have to ease you in.
Yeah.
To the.
We'll talk about creating a replacement element instead of palladium, so you can build a safer reactor to keep the bomb shards away from your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Power your Iron Man suit.
Right, exactly. And let's not make it a triangle this time. Let's make it a cool thing like a diamond or shape or something.
I liked the circle in the early suits.
Me too.
I don't really like the direction the suits took.
Me neither. It was all about the original for me too.
Yeah, I don't think we have a very unusual or brave set of opinions here. I think that's the consensus online too. People don't like the all CG, sleek-looking nanite suit because it doesn't really scream Iron Man.
No, it doesn't.
They liked the just sort of tactile presentation of the blocky metal ones.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like the originals actually had some weight behind them. Because like the original, it seemed like even though Iron Man had that suit, he was still just a man inside an Iron Man suit, and there's some type of vulnerability to that that's endearing. But yeah, with the nanobots and stuff, it was just kind of like, oh, Iron Man has a suit. He has a billion suits on him at all times. It depends on what the nanos want to create, and all he has to do is push a button. So
it's kind of neat, and I like seeing people explore transhuman themes with Iron Man. But even just the fact that those costumes are more likely to be done all in CGI as opposed to having a physical presence on the set.
Yeah.
And that you can't look at them and really understand how they function as armor or what material they could possibly be made out of.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it just kind of, I think, takes the audience out of it.
Oh, definitely.
And I also just have little style preferences, like that I like the round reactors better. And I don't know why I never really liked the triangular reactors. I can't explain that.
Well, it's because, I mean, for me, I can explain it as, like, I grew up with the classic look of Iron Man. I never knew of any type of diamond plate he had or triangle plate, because I grew up reading the comics. And the old school comics, he always had the circular one. Yeah, and, I mean, about the suits and stuff, it's the same thing of, like, why for Star Wars, I like the originals better than the new CGI ones, because the puppets were interesting, even with this new Mandalorian, guess what? Baby Yoda's a puppet.
Yeah.
You interact with a puppet way better than you would a CGI character, because you can
Yeah.
actually see it, you can actually hold it, you can actually feel it. It actually has
Yeah.
weight to it. So
Even if the facial musculature isn't as articulate on a puppet as on a CGI model, something about the lighting in most of these CGI characters, the little details that give them a way to show that they just aren't physically present in the environment, that really takes me out of it even more than just sort of a stiff moving puppet.
mm-hmm.
And I think part of it just has to do with the way the actors respond to them as well.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It's certainly helpful to the whole cast and to the audience, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, here's the thing. If Baby Yoda was CG, like all the time, yeah, it just wouldn't have the same effect. Wouldn't have the same effect. But, no.
Yeah, every so often when there's a cheap CGI shot, it kind of takes me out of it.
Yeah.
The best CGI is what you never notice.
Right, exactly. And these days it's kind of between like a hybrid and stuff, and it's great. Shoot what you can in real life, and then I guess for those shots that you can't really do, put a little bit of CG, but not too much. So it's what made it work in, Jurassic Park and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's funny that we still go back to that movie as an example of good CGI after all these years. There are some really bad bits from it, but they just didn't overplay their hand in that great T-Rex paddock escape scene.
Yeah.
And that just works so well.
Mm-hmm. And guess what? They didn't have to break the budget doing it. So there you go. It's awesome.
Well, it sure was brutal. I remember reading about how they had to use hair dryers to hand dry the wet foam animatronic T-Rex head.
Oh, wow. Jeez, like a bunch of hair dryers on it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it did sound like a pain in the ass, and I can see why a producer might push for CGI, but it was totally worth it.
It's still cheaper, though, you know what I mean? Than CGI. CGI costs so much.
I saw a weird article someplace that said some producers feel audiences won't accept anything, quote-unquote, less than CGI.
Oh, well, then they don't know the audience.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I literally don't know anybody that says, you know what? I like that movie, but it didn't have enough CGI.
Probably some little shit gremlin kid somewhere. I don't know. I remember even reading about the making of Spider-Verse and how the older animators had to insist to the younger members of the production team that, yes, having fewer frames will have an effect that some members of the audience will actually like. No, it should not all be a fluid 60 FPS. And you can communicate things by having more frames or fewer frames. And, there's a benefit to an aesthetic that looks hand-drawn or hand-animated. Apparently some of these young animators were just like, what? Ridiculous.
Ooh, it's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I guess it depends on when you grew up and stuff, but we were lucky to grow up in the age we did where, we got to see the beginning of CGI, and we understand the value of what it means for animatronics to take over in certain situations versus CGI. Because there's really no substitute for it. So.
Yeah, it's just like how Tom Cruise is now fully animatronic.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I expected he had a couple of bots and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, they're all being replaced with robots.
Well, Kim Jong Un is for certainly a robot now, huh? He's definitely dead, isn't he?
Who?
Kim Jong Un. Kim Jong Un.
I haven't heard any news from him recently. I don't know. I remember the memes on Reddit about his sister taking over and like the parody manga covers and so on. But
So
yeah,
what?
I don't know what's been going on
So
with him.
I think last December, what I heard was something happened to him, and like the U.S. just stopped hearing from him altogether. And there was a bunch of articles saying, "Oh, he's in terrible health and everything like this," and then the U.S. didn't hear anything from him since. So I think he's either dead or, well, I think he is dead. So he's definitely not a good person. So I don't really care if he's dead or not. But yeah.
Yeah, screw that guy.
I mean, I know.
I mean, I knew him. He was in my old World of Warcraft guild, and he was okay, but he was always showing up late, drawing aggro when he wasn't supposed to, blaming the healer whenever something went wrong. So, yeah, I hope he's dead.
Yeah, but yeah, nobody, Dennis Rodman hasn't said anything, hasn't been there. I don't know, just, it's not like him just to drop off the face of the planet type situation.
Right.
So.
Yeah, maybe he just died of terminal fatness.
I mean, he has a nation of starving people, so it would serve him right. It would serve him right, so. I don't know. All right, Andrew. Well, I don't think Chris is signing on because he said he's going to be on in 5 minutes, but that was an hour ago. So.
Oh wow, jeez.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, you have a good night, Andrew. Thanks for your help again. I appreciate it.
Oh, you betcha. I learned a lot about the game myself. I don't know. I'm a little surprised and upset by some of the differences between Demon Souls and Dark Souls that I didn't expect, like the item cap that means you have to keep going to stockpile Thomas. I hope that's not a big pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that you know that regular roll is better than fat roll at least, and we'll know to watch for item scaling and stuff, that will help you a lot.
That will, yeah. And yeah, it actually, because I was very hell bound on just upgrading my weapon as much as I could, but maybe I should hold off the materials to see if I can find a better one. Something that's more conducive to, I don't know, my Temple Knight. So, I don't see though.
Oh boy, yeah.
Alright, Drew. Well, you have a good night, man.
You too. Force will be with you.
You too, man. Alright, see ya. Alright.
Bye-bye.
Bye.